Just imagine, you wake up one morning feeling a bit off. Maybe it's the weather, maybe it's stress, or maybe your immune system's just not at its best. Then you see people online drinking miracle smoothies and taking tons of vitamins to boost their immunity. Sounds great, right? But here's the real question. Can we actually boost our immune system? Or is it just another health myth? In this videocast, we're going to break it down, what science really says about immune boosters and what actually helps your body fight off sickness.
Okay, if you've been online at all recently, or even just walk through a farmer's aisle, you've seen it everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
This constant message, you have to boost your immune system. You know, maybe it's some fancy mushroom powder or mega doses of vitamins or that green sludge stuff. The promise is always that you'll get like superhuman defenses.
Exactly. Okay, let's unpack this
Mhm.
because our sources for this deep dive we're looking at, immunology reviews, nutritional science studies, they really push back against that whole idea.
They do.
Our mission here is to cut through all that marketing noise and, really understand what the immune system actually is. How do we support it? It's balance, it's calibration, not just like force it into overdrive. Balance is the key word there. So to really get a handle on how complex this is, the research often uses this great analogy. Think of your body like like an old castle.
Yeah.
That's a good one. And the immune system, it really is that complex. It's a whole defense force, right? But it's not just one wall. It's this integrated setup of specialized cells, tissues, even whole organs, all working together against invaders, viruses, bacteria, fungi, you name it.
And when we talk about the soldiers, the sort of first responders, we usually mean white blood cells.
Precisely. And we can even get more specific. You're talking about T cells, B cells, phagocytes. These aren't just generic foot soldiers. They're highly specialized units, each with a specific job.
Like identifying threats or taking out infected cells.
Exactly that. Identifying, destroying, remembering. It's like a really complex, coordinated military operation that's running, well, 24/7.
Right.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting. Because that complexity seems to immediately clash with that slogan we hear everywhere, boost your immune system. Why is that phrase, scientifically speaking, kind of wrong?
Well, it's misleading, mostly because the system isn't something you just turn up like a dial. It's always running, always active, and it's designed for stability, for regulation.
It's constantly talking to itself, sort of.
Exactly. It's all about communication between components.
Yeah.
And the really crucial insight from the sources is that trying to make it extra strong or hyper alert all the time, that's not necessarily good. It can actually be dangerous.
Dangerous how?
Well, if you somehow did manage to force it into this constant high alert state, you risk it losing the ability to tell friend from foe, self from non-self.
If the troops get too aggressive, basically they can turn on the body itself. That overactivity, that's the root of autoimmune diseases. The soldiers start attacking the castle walls because they mistake healthy parts for an enemy.
Wow. Okay, so that completely shifts the goal then. We're not aiming for some mythical super immunity because that actually sounds risky.
It carries real physiological risks, yeah.
So the goal is more about maintaining health and regulation, making sure the system works properly, efficiently, without friendly fire.
Precisely. It's about shifting focus from a forced boost to just creating the best possible working conditions for this incredibly complex, finely tuned defense force we already have.
Right. So, okay, let's get practical then. Let's talk about what you, the listener, can actually do. If we're aiming for optimal conditions, where do we start? Fuel seems like the obvious place.
It is.
What are the key nutritional things from the sources, beyond just, eat your broccoli?
Well, the sources really distinguish between just eating and targeted immune support. It's not just calories. It's about the signaling molecules, the building blocks.
Okay.
So yeah, vitamin C is famous, but let's take zinc. Zinc is absolutely essential for loads of immune cells to develop and function right, especially T cells. It's almost like the key that starts their engine.
Huh.
And the sources show that even a small zinc deficiency can really slow down your immune response time dramatically.
So zinc is critical for those frontline guys. What about vitamin D? We hear so much about that one too.
Yeah, vitamin D is fascinating. Immune cells actually have receptors for it. It seems to play a big role in modulating the response, sort of calming it down when needed.
So it stops it from going overboard.
Exactly. If
Okay.
you're fighting something off, vitamin D helps make sure the inflammatory response is strong enough, but doesn't cause excessive collateral damage to your own tissues. And deficiency is really common, and it correlates strongly with being more susceptible to infections.
Okay. And on the flip side, what are the things in our diet that are like rocks in the soil? The things that actively mess things up. It's pretty much what you'd expect. The highly processed foods, tons of added sugar, unhealthy fats. These things tend to create chronic, low-level inflammation throughout the body. So it's like background noise.
That's a great way to put it. It's not a helpful defensive inflammation. It's just
Yeah.
noise. And when that alarm system is constantly buzzing quietly because of your diet, the real alarms say a virus invading might get muffled or delayed. The defenses react slower, less effectively.
Right, that makes sense. But it brings up a question, doesn't it? If diet is so critical, and let's be honest, most of us aren't perfect, why don't supplements, especially those high-dose ones, just fill the gap? You hear about athletes and health gurus swearing by them. It's a really fair question. And the data across our sources is pretty consistent on this. Supplements are really meant to fix a proven deficiency.
Yeah. They aren't designed to create some kind of super surplus. If your vitamin D levels are already fine, taking huge extra doses doesn't make your immune cells work better. It mostly just increases the risk of toxicity, especially with those fat-soluble vitamins like D, A, E, K.
So more isn't better.
Not in this case.
Yeah.
The immune system is smart. Once it has the materials it needs, piling on more doesn't really improve the factory output, just creates potential problems.
Got it. Okay, so that covers the fuel. If diet is the soil, maybe movement, exercise is like the maintenance routine for the castle. How does that fit into this calibration idea?
Movement is huge for transport, basically. Your immune cells, these lymphocytes, they travel around your body through your blood and your lymphatic system.
Oh.
When you do moderate activity like a brisk walk, a jog, cycling, maybe 30 to 60 minutes, a few times a week, you're literally helping to pump those immune cells through your system faster and more efficiently.
So they're patrolling more effectively.
Exactly. They get around the body better, reaching potential trouble spots sooner.
But you mentioned moderation. There's a warning about going too hard, right? That sounds like it could mimic that overboosting problem again.
Absolutely. That's a critical point.
Right.
If you do really intense, long exercise without giving yourself enough recovery time, studies show you can actually get a temporary dip in immune function.
Really?
Yeah, it's sometimes called the open window effect. Your body throws so many resources at muscle repair and recovery that it temporarily dials back on immune surveillance. It leaves your defenses a bit weakened for a few hours afterwards.
Okay, so consistency and moderation, not necessarily pushing to the absolute limit all the time.
That's the sweet spot for immune support, yes.
Which flows right into rest, sleep. That seems like the one non-negotiable downtime. What's actually happening with the immune system during those, say, 7 to 9 hours we're supposed to get?
Sleep is prime time for maintenance and resource consolidation. Crucially, your body releases key signaling molecules during sleep. Well, especially during deep sleep. There's an increase in the production of certain cytokines. These are proteins that help fight infection and inflammation. They're essential tools. If you consistently skimp on sleep, you're basically short-circuiting that nightly repair process and reducing your defensive toolkit. Immune cell recovery just doesn't happen properly when you're awake.
It's like the computer shutting down to install updates.
That's a perfect analogy, yeah. Okay, and the other big one, stress. Everyone talks about reducing stress, but how does chronic stress actually mess with the castle's wiring on a cellular level? Is everyday work stress the same as, like, major trauma stress?
Well, the sources do differentiate between acute and chronic, but the underlying chemical pathway involves stress hormones, mainly cortisol,
Right.
a bit of acute stress, meeting a deadline that's normal, even helpful. But the chronic stuff, the relentless day in, day out pressure, that means your cortisol levels are high for long periods.
And that's bad for immunity. Over time, yes. Cortisol is immunosuppressive when it's constantly elevated. It can reduce the production of new lymphocytes, those key immune cells, and dampen the function of the ones you already have.
So the body's basically saying, danger, focus on escaping the tiger, and tells the immune system to kind of stand down.
In effect, yes. The body prioritizes dealing with the perceived immediate external threat, even if that threat is just an overwhelming inbox. It leads to tired guards and a generally weaker defense structure over time. Okay, so we've covered the internal stuff: fuel, movement, rest, stress management. What about the castle's outer walls? Hygiene, vaccine, how do they fit in? Well, like the sources remind us, having great internal regulation doesn't help much if invaders can just walk right in.
Right. Weak gates.
Exactly. Simple things like washing your hands properly. That's just physically reinforcing the walls, stopping pathogens from getting inside in the first place. It's basic but crucial.
And vaccines, how do they fit the castle analogy?
Vaccines are like an incredibly effective early warning system, or maybe a simulated training drill for the soldiers. They introduce a safe, controlled version or piece of the intruder. This lets the immune system study it, figure out its tactics, create memory cells, and prepare a really specific, super efficient response before the real dangerous version ever shows up.
Yeah.
It's about achieving peak readiness through training.
Got it. Okay, let's use the last bit of our time for a quick myth-busting round. These are common ideas pulled from the sources. Ready?
Let's do it. Myth number 1. Taking massive doses of vitamins guarantees a super strong immune system.
No, mostly false. Unless you have a diagnosed deficiency, megadoses don't really boost function and can even cause harm or just be expensive urine. It's about having enough resources, not a massive overload. Okay, myth number 2. Cold weather itself makes you sick in winter. Getting chilled weakens your immunity, not directly. The cold air isn't the main culprit. What happens in winter, according to the sources, is often related to indoor conditions. Low humidity lets viruses hang around in the air longer and stay infectious.
Ah, so it's more about transmission indoors.
Yeah, plus dry air can dry out your mucous membranes, making it easier for viruses to get in. So it's the environment the cold creates, plus us huddling inside that increases sickness, not the cold temperature itself weakening your immune cells directly. Makes sense. Okay, final one. Myth number 3. You need a special detox tonic or herbal cleanse to keep your immunity strong, especially after being sick.
Almost certainly no. There's no magic drink or cleanse that guarantees protection. Detox is mostly a marketing buzzword. Your liver and kidneys are your detox system. Be really skeptical of anything promising a quick fix like that. The reliable stuff is the foundations. Sleep, good food, managing stress.
Right.
Way more effective than any unproven tonic.
Right.
So bringing it all together then, what's the main takeaway? I think the core conclusion is you absolutely can influence your immune system. You can help it work at its best, optimize its regulation and efficiency, but you can't artificially force it into some kind of super immune state without potentially upsetting that very delicate balance it needs to protect you without harming you. So what does this all mean for you listening right now? So it means maybe stop looking for that one magic pill or that extreme boost. Real immune health seems to come from consistent, integrated self-care. It's a side effect of being generally healthy.
Well put.
Eat those colorful whole foods that give you the zinc, the vitamin D, the other key stuff. Stay active to keep those cells circulating, but don't grind yourself into the ground. Really prioritize getting those 7 to 9 hours of sleep and find real ways to manage that chronic stress, that cortisol overload.
Those are the reliable levers. They seem simple, but consistently doing them. That's what really reinforces your defenses, based on everything we've looked at. And maybe a final thought to leave you with, building on that idea of integration. If there isn't one single boost button you can press, think about the incredible combined power you get when you actually pay attention to all 4 of those areas: diet, movement, sleep, and stress at the same time.
Right.
Not just focusing on one. Exactly. Just nailing your diet, but ignoring sleep. Or exercising perfectly, but being chronically stressed. You only get so far. It's the integration of all 4 that truly creates those optimal, steady conditions for your immune system to do its job effectively. That's far more reliable, far more sustainable than any quick fix boost. So maybe reflect on which of those 4 areas really needs your consistent attention starting today.
Your immune system isn't a car engine you can just rev up overnight. It's more like a smart defense team that needs balance, not overdrive. Good sleep, real food, less stress, that's your true immune booster. So next time you see a magic pill or drink online, you'll know better. I'm really glad you watched till the end. And if you learned something new today, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for more real science in simple words.